right, we are back for one more dose of blue, and what was this episode 64?
66,
66.
which is
So this is our last dose of blue in 66 here. I'll throw this in before we start talking about it. This is an idea for us to consider. Maybe this should be the start of a segment where we take you into because we usually break this into 3 segments, that one of those will be devoted to a classic or throwback film from our youth. So maybe a way for us older guys to show you something that you might not see otherwise, because I'm pretty sure this is going to take you there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, if I was at a con and I brought this movie up with 50 people that came by the booth, if I found one person that would even know what I was talking about, I'd be surprised. But
I had never heard of it before you told me about it a while ago.
I'm a music lover. I grew up with access to radio and cassette tapes that I would get from whoever I could get one. For somebody that has zero musical talent, I can't sing.
I was going to ask you that if you ever attempted to play anything.
I took piano lessons because our parents made us do it, and I took nothing away from it because I didn't want to be doing it. I'd love to do it now, but for somebody with the musical talent level that I have, which is way down here, I spend probably more time with music than anybody else I can think about. I grew up on AC/DC, Van Halen, ZZ Top, Motley Crue. I always kind of felt like I was doing what God put me here to do, and protecting people and being an officer, and taking that path that I took. I kind of felt like I was steered that way. My song Sung Blue dream of chasing that famous dream would be to be a famous radio DJ. I've loved listening to radio and DJs and stuff when I was a kid, and I always thought that would be a cool thing to do. I love exposing somebody to music they've never heard before. Same thing with film, but the film thing came later. What I had access to when I was a kid was music, and loved finding a band before anybody else found it. Loved finding a new type of music before anybody else found it. And that's why somebody at church the other day asked me what kind of music I listened to. And I was like, how much time do you have? And he's like, like, if you have to listen to something, what's your go-to when you're driving down the road? I was like, it could be gospel bluegrass, it could be Nine Inch Nails, it could be 90s techno, and it also could be anything in 35 categories in between all those. I said it might be Heavy D one day, and it would be AC/DC the next day, because I can't consume enough music. That's always been my thing, and I probably that desire to maybe be some sort of musical type person, and never really having that access to it. I didn't grow up around this kind of area. If you get into people that are really good musicians, they're people that grew up with it. They're people that had grandparents that played guitar or something like that, and they picked it up kind of messing around with it when they were kids. And I didn't. I had a radio and cassette tapes, and I had a little JCPenney tape recorder that you had to sit by the radio so you could tape stuff off the radio and yell at your mom when she came in to ask you a question, because it would get recorded too, because it was an open mic. So
I grew up mostly with classic rock.
Yeah.
I would call myself a casual music enjoyer. I think most people like music. I think humans are prone to be musical, and I'm not going to get into the metaphysical reasons why I think that is.
Yeah.
But I just think that's a part of who we are as humans.
Yeah.
I never really, aside from the recorder in 3rd grade, I never really got into playing music much. That's one of the things I kind of wish my parents had pushed me into.
I wish I'd had enough understanding when they were willing to put me into it.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have done it. But what I would have wanted to do on a piano was not go play Mozart. I'd want to play Jerry Lee Lewis, right, or somebody newer, like Harry Connick, or somebody that plays old blues, old jazz stuff, piano bar, New Orleans type things. If you played that for me when I was had access to piano lessons, I'd been like, when's my next piano lesson? But
I think there are some people who are I think natural talent is a thing. Yeah. I think there are people who have the proclivity toward music, and people who don't. I do put myself in the category who people who don't. Yeah, I had a friend in middle school who taught himself to play the guitar because he just wanted to. So he one of these guys, he would listen to a song, he would pluck along until he figured it out. And the guitar that he got, he was left-handed. The guitar that he got was strung for a right-handed person, so he learned to play it upside down. And at one point, he was like, "Hey, you want to learn how to play?" I was like, "Sure." And I went over his place, and he was like trying to teach me, and I was like, "Dude, I can't put my fingers like you're asking me." No.
Yeah.
So it was very early on. I was like, "This is not something that I think I'm going to be able to grasp."
But because of that long-winded background into music and my love for music, this was a favorite movie as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Crossroads came out in 1986. This is very close following Karate Kid stuff with
I
Raplh
mean, yeah,
Macchio.
he looks young. His character is 17. I don't know how old he was, but he couldn't have been much past 20.
Yeah, no, I don't even know what. I didn't think to even look up what year Karate Kid came out, but it had to be 84, 85, something like that. So it had to be right before this, because he wouldn't have made a movie like this if he didn't have that fame from Karate
Yeah.
Kid.
1984, and
84.
Crossroads came out
It
in
was 86.
86. Yeah, so it was probably one of those things where he was already in the production of Crossroads when Karate Kid came out. Yeah.
The this is Walter Hill directed this. Basically,
What else he do?
he did the Warriors and he did the 48 Hour series.
Okay.
The screenplay was by John Fusco, and this guy, you would know more of his stuff. He did like the Young Guns movies. He did Hidalgo, The Highwaymen.
Done a lot of producing.
Fusco is where this whole idea of this movie came from. This wasn't based on a book. He wrote this screenplay. He's from Connecticut. He left high school. This is Fusco guy did. Left high school to travel the South as a blues musician.
Oh.
And he wrote this screenplay when he came back to New York as a film student. And he won like all these awards with this screenplay that he wrote, in his early 20s as a film student in New York.
So does he claim it being like a fictional autobiography kind of thing?
I think it's sort of like
it was inspired by his
as he was traveling. This was kind of like the story like he imagined, and it was easy to write because I think he was kind of living some of this too at the same time.
And I'm sure because the lore of this film with like the Crossroads and the contracts with the devil and all that, that's all like that's actual lore.
Yeah, that's
like,
real
myth, legend, whatever.
Real deep South, Black culture lore. Yeah. The movie itself focuses on three people: Eugene, who is Raplh Macchio; Willie Brown, an old black guy in a nursing home; and Francis, who is a runaway. That's Jamie Gertz. Let me pull up the other things. I don't want to leave Willie Brown out of this.
Yeah,
Joe Seneca. I always know him as he was like a dean of Hillman on the Cosby Show, but he's been in a ton of stuff. I think if you watched a lot of 70s, early 80s black films and stuff like that, he was in a lot of that kind of stuff. But
died in 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at his filmography. I was like, he hasn't done anything since the 90s. Yeah. That's why.
I think the Cosby Show was right before he died.
Okay.
Because he's there
he was in A Time to Kill.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But the whole story is that Eugene is a student who is at Juilliard Music School in New York, and he thinks he's found somebody that knew the old Robert Johnson, the old blues guy, that traveled with him and knew him. And there was this lore that Robert Johnson had a lost song.
The 30th song, right?
The key to all that is, if you know Eric Clapton, he recorded one of his big songs when he went solo was Crossroads. And that was taking an old Robert Johnson thing and bringing it into pop culture, and it became a huge international hit for Eric Clapton. So the idea is that wouldn't it be cool if I could find a song and do what Eric Clapton did? So he's thinking he can find this. He's found this guy in New York City that might be the guy who knows how to do this. So he gets a job at this nursing home being like a janitor, just so he can get in to go talk to Willie Brown. And he's such a funny old guy, man. I want to quote Willie Brown, but I don't want the show to be inappropriate. Some of the things he said I thought were so funny. But he basically denies being him at first, and then I think you're not really sure whether he just thinks he sees Eugene as somebody he can take advantage of, or
I think at first that he sees him as an opportunity. He takes it as an opportunity. Now we do know before this, because it has that flashback sequence at the very beginning.
Yeah,
it shows him in like sepia tone at the Crossroads.
That's Robert Johnson. You
Oh, okay, that's not Willie.
Yeah,
Okay,
you get a scene later with Willie going there too. But
gotcha.
that first scene is Robert Johnson going.
Okay.
It's the lore of him going to the Crossroads, signing a deal with the devil, selling his soul to the devil, because the whole idea of that lore was like, how are all these like black musicians in the South that had no formal training,
Mhm.
had no access to teachers, had no, how did they become such crazy good talented musicians? And the answer from older black people is like, it's the devil.
Right.
That's basically how that lore came into being, is like the only way that he became famous and I didn't become famous is he sold his soul to the devil.
Okay.
And the idea that all these bluesmen, basically everybody that became famous in the blues, was somebody that had sold their soul. And some of that kind of comes back to the Christian foundation of deep South stuff, and that trying to sort of vilify bluesmen too, because they were promoting going out and being with women all the time and drinking and smoking and being in bars, and they're like, that's not the life you should be living. So that lore kind of winds through that culture into almost like oh my goodness, what's the mom from The Water Boy, where she's like, foosball is the devil.
Right.
That's like that, but Southern black culture. But anyway, he tells Eugene that he is Willie Brown, and that helps give him the song, but he's got to help him get out of the nursing home and get back to Mississippi. So
Because he needs to go to the Crossroads.
he doesn't even tell him that yet. He wants to.
But that's his motivation.
Yeah. You kind of get into, it becomes a road trip movie. He breaks him out of the nursing home. They try to go by bus. They don't have enough money to get there, so they start hoboing their way down, hitchhiking, riding trains, all that kind of stuff. And then in the course of all that, I'm not exactly sure where plotline in the movie, you get some flashbacks where Willie's having the dream about where he went to the Crossroads,
Right.
and he made the same deal. And when you go to the Crossroads, you don't get to see the devil. His assistant would drive up, and in the old time, it would be like a really nice like Model T, and it gets
and the assistant is played by Joe Morton.
Yeah,
from Terminator 2.
That's the guy that created Skynet.
Yeah.
Well, probably one of his for early movies too, in '86. But they, as they're hoboing, they encounter this runaway girl, Frances.
Jamie Gertz, and it's just right out of left field. They go into a house to get out of the rain, and she's in there.
Yeah, and they're like, "We're gonna hitchhike." I think his term is like,
she's got legs.
That thing's got a leg on her. Yeah. She's gonna get a lot more rides than we will.
Thumb. Yeah.
So they start traveling with her. They go to a town, and while they're sort of hanging out, they see that she's selling herself to people to make money.
Yeah, they're at like at a bar that's attached to like motels.
Yeah, like
and
an old-fashioned motel.
They're playing some music to get some money.
Yeah.
And the owner comes up and tries to, boot him out, and she kind of tries to. Well, she does. She seduces the owner.
Yeah.
That's when Eugene's like, no.
Yeah, he goes in and
goes in to save her,
and basically gets his butt kicked. But then Willie comes in and pulls a gun on the guy. They had been at a pawn shop earlier. Yeah. Got Eugene an electric guitar because he's trying to teach him about how people learn the blues back then. And Eugene has like a classical acoustic guitar, and he has this old beat up guitar.
Yeah, Eugene seems to be. He talks about his family and how they're separated and everything, but he's in Juilliard, so he seems to be from means.
Yeah, he's a wealthy kid whose parents have sent him off to a boarding school because that's how wealthy people rather deal with their children.
He has aspirations of being this like soulful blues player.
Yeah.
And they sell his watch, and gets that electric guitar, and unbeknownst to Eugene, Willie gets a gun.
Yeah. I think his term to him is like, Muddy Waters invented electricity. He said, you're screeching on this old beat up guitar, and you bought it because you thought it looked beat up. It's like,
right.
Try electricity. It's like, it sounds better. But yeah, they've got a gun, so they end up robbing this dude and like stealing his car. Go on the road a little bit with the car, and then I guess they take it to like an old like scrapyard and sell the car to somebody just to get some more money.
That's one aspect of the film I thought was nicely done. Is in a lot of films, people just have money. Yeah. Like they don't really explain. Okay, well, these people are going across country and they just have all this money to do this, and it actually shows them these three trying to scrape together enough money to get to the next point.
He finds this old guy, this younger black guy's got like a scrap yard. He's like, I don't want anything to hear about any paperwork, any licenses. What do you want to give me for the car? And the guy's like, that's a fine looking Cadillac you got there. Gives him a couple $100 for it. But yeah, they go from there. Kind of takes you more into the deep south. They go to a town where there's still segregated. Like there's a redneck bar on one side of the street, and there's a juke joint for the blacks on the other side. Tells them to go. They
Eugene
go
and
in and try to make
Francis
some
goes.
money to the redneck bar,
Yep.
and they go there and basically they try to rob somebody, then they try to pickpocket somebody and get kicked
Yep.
out of the bar.
Yeah. Francis steals someone's wallet and they catch him and they. Yeah. At this point, Eugene has the gun. He pulls out the gun. It's a big to do.
Yeah,
He loses the gun.
He gives the gun up, and
Yeah.
he's just showing that he's a rich kid, doesn't know how to exist in this world. And
Right.
they come back across the street.
They join
to
Willie
go
in the
get
juke
Willie.
joint. Yep.
They walk into this like black juke joint. Raplh Macchio with this like kind of goofy little blues hat, and
That he got at the pawn shop.
Jamie Gertz and all these black guys are like, "Hey, what are y'all doing here?"
We're here to get our friend.
Yeah, they're like, "I'm surprised." It's like the one guy comes up to him. He's like, "You coming to a juke, a black man's juke, dressed to play blues?" He's like, "I'm surprised you can walk." It's like, he must have balls this big. But
And they actually play, right?
well, yeah, Willie comes over there.
Yeah.
There's like people can. There's one guy gets up. It's like, let's take his guitar. You know, there's people that are kind of.
And Willie
Forming
talks
a
him up.
crowd.
He's like, "No, you got to hear him."
He's like, oh no, he's here to play with me. And he's like, he gets him up on the stage. He's like, what are you doing, you idiot? It's like, if you don't take these people home, it's like, we're gonna all get killed. And so they play in front of these people, and there's an older lady there that's like dancing, and she tells Francis like, that's Willie Brown. I grew up watching him. My grandma talked about him all the time. That's the one and only Willie Brown. So you find out that he is actually this used to be famous blues guy, played blues harmonica, and then you kind of find out that well, from there they move on down the road. They kind of think that Eugene kind of thinks, oh, we really made it. We're going to be famous. We'll tour.
Yeah, Willie has to take him down a little peg.
Francis,
You want me? No, Willie, because Eugene's talking about how great it was, how great they were, and Willie comes in and he's like, you want me to come in and tell you you were wonderful, you were great?" Yeah.
It's like they were feeling the whiskey. It's like they weren't
Right,
feeling
right.
you. So they're feeling it like I am. Like I'm about to feel some more. But then Francis just leaves. She continues. She exits the story.
Which is kind of like gives Eugene a little bit of credibility as a blues singer. Well,
Yeah.
All right, you lost a girl now.
Yep.
Now you got that under your belt.
He tells him the blues isn't anything but a man feeling sad about remembering the woman he once was with, and he
Yep.
starts learning how to really play kind of more soulful blues. And
That's why I would never be good at blues. I got a high school sweetheart and we're still together. So.
And then the difference between reading sheet music and just playing somebody else's music and actually just creating it are two very different things.
Oh yeah.
But he gets on down into deep Mississippi. He goes to a boarding house where he used to date the grandmother.
The grandmother, yeah.
The granddaughter's still there.
She heard stories about Willie.
He is where you're kind of starting to find out more about the Crossroads. That Willie made a deal with the devil.
Well, you first literally in the film it's like the first scene.
Yeah.
But Eugene and Willie talk about it on the bus, like in the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Willie's telling him about it, and Eugene's like, "I know all about it. I read it in a book."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you find out that that's the whole reason he's coming back
yeah.
down there, is that he wants to get back, find the devil, break the deal, because he didn't get the fame and fortune that he was promised.
Right.
And he thinks that he can show back up and be like, hey, this didn't turn out good.
I want to return this.
I want a refund.
Yeah.
So they go back to this Crossroads. This granddaughter knows where it is because she knows the lore. And he literally is operating off of like a thing he sketched in his.
Yeah,
in
it's
his
like
room.
a drawing. He's like,
Just a
"Do you know where
drawing.
this is?"
It's like, I know exactly where it is. It's like, it's one of those things we don't talk about.
Yeah.
But so gets him a ride out there. They drop him off. It tells him to start playing. So Eugene just starts kind of playing guitar, and all of a sudden, like a Camaro shows up, and it's Scratch. It's the devil's assistant again.
Yeah, well, Scratch's assistant. Yeah.
And he asks him if he wants a ride, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not riding with y'all." So he takes off, and then like all of a sudden, like you turn around and like there's this. You gotta get to
Robert
the picture.
Judd. Yep. Scratch
This
shows
guy
up.
just shows up out of nowhere in the middle of this field in Mississippi. He's walking up the crossroads, and this is the devil. Used to be called Legba. Now I think as the assistant tells him before he takes off, it's like Legba. It's like he's changed his name to Scratch. So that's the devil in the lore.
That's definitely one of the, like, you could get more into the actual like the folklore that is behind the idea of Legba and the Crossroads and all that. Yeah.
I love how the movie really is a road trip movie up until this point, and then you get these random dreams and stuff, and you're like, this is just them going back home or something, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, here's the devil. It's like what's happening here?
Right. It definitely it brings the audience to a place where you're like, okay, well, this actually happened. It's not like it's just lore. It's something that in the world of the movie, this was an actual event that Willie had gone through.
Willie says, "Yeah, I want to break the deal," and he's like, "Nope, deal's still on."
This contract says.
Yeah. Eugene says he'll go in for Willie. He's like, "I don't believe any of this stuff is real." And
right, because at one point Willie's like, if he wanted to do a contest, and Scratch is like, "Well, what do I get if you lose?" He's like, "You get me." He's like, "I already got you."
I have that down. Yeah. I love that exchange. Robert Judd, Scratch. I can throw that in here now. I think he's one of the top 5 portrayals of the devil in movies. He's one of my favorites. I love the line. And he's like, what do I get if I win? And like they make this big dramatic scene, and Willie steps up to him. He's like, "You get me." And he's like, "I already got you." I just love the way he says that. And then Eugene's like, "Well, you get me too." And then Willie's like, "No, don't say that." It's like, "I don't think you understand." He's like, "I don't believe any of this is real." And he's like, he transports them, and all of a sudden they just show up in hell at this like stage and in a bar. And it's like, then they're like, oof, maybe I shouldn't have made that offer.
With Jack Butler,
played by Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Steve Vai
is the devil's champion.
Yeah. And
I actually Googled that after the film. I was like, okay, was that guy supposed to be like a version of Satan, or just no, he's like his guy.
Yeah.
He was his
this is how the devil entertains himself a few nights a week. He has people battle it out for their souls. Get into
now Steve Vai, I didn't know who it was. Apparently he was in Frank Zappa's band. He was with David Lee Roth, post Van Halen.
Yeah.
So he's done a lot of stuff, but he's been a part of a lot of things. He did, it said he did do some like his own stuff.
He's got a bunch of instrumental stuff. If you don't like listening to 12-minute instrumental guitar ballads,
right?
I've had one of his tapes back when we still had tapes. I've listened to him on YouTube. He's crazy talented. It's not really my thing to just listen to instrumental. I guess you learn how much you like drums and lyrics after you listen to a lot of instrumental guitar stuff. But I think he's been rated as like a top 100, maybe a top 30 guitar player of all times by different magazines and stuff like that. But
definitely one of those things that people in the know would have been like, they would have been excited about this. They're like, oh, that's awesome.
The person that you don't see in any of this is Ry Cooder. Ry Cooder, if you want to get into somebody who's been with somebody, pull him up on Wikipedia and look at all the people he's played with. It's like a paragraph like this.
What did he do in this?
He played all the blues music in this.
Oh, okay.
Steve Vai wrote and performed the battle that the movie is the climax of the movie.
So Raplh Macchio was just like pantomiming.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where like, as someone who doesn't know music, I don't notice, but like someone who really does know music would probably see his finger play and be like,
there's a scene when he's playing the classical part at the very end of it, where they manipulate the, I think they had him doing it slow and they were speeding the film up.
Oh, okay.
And you can see that it actually misses on the timing. I think one time where his hand comes down the slide before the sound does.
There's complete aside, but I've seen like internet videos of people who know music playing what the people in the, like on the screen, like mimicking their fingers so you can hear what they actually played would sound like. I wonder if they've done Crossroads.
If I could play by ear, I could play this battle for you from memory. I've seen this thing so many times. On top of, you can look up Crossroads Cutting Heads guitar battle, because that's what they call this contest, was Cutting Heads. There's a 10-minute video that just shows the battle, but I suggest to watch the movie instead of that, because you're that's the
little
climatic battle
context.
of the movie
Yeah.
if you watch that. But once you've seen the movie, if you ever want to go back and watch it, it's like 9-10 minutes on YouTube. I watch it all the time.
So as someone who's only ever seen the battle once,
Yeah.
they're doing their jazz thing, but then he throws in Mozart. Like that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end, I was like, that's Mozart, and then the Jack Butler is trying to mimic that, but he can't.
It's kind of the things like the nobody explains the rules of the cutting heads, and they play back and forth. Just basically he plays something, you answer back and forth. They do that, and then
So is it he play one person plays, the other one plays that also, but then adds to it,
yeah,
and
there's
then back and forth. Okay.
one of the favorite parts is like at the very beginning when they're like walking towards each other and they're just playing like little riffs. Is like the one that Steve Vai plays or Jack Butler plays. Raplh Macchio plays it back, and he blueses it up at the end. And it's like, oh, it's like gotcha. But they go back and forth. But there's really no clear rules on this thing, and like at the end of it, he just decides to wrap up the solo and kind of declares victory. And they're like, I guess we just lost. And Raplh Macchio goes back. You have to kind of go back and watch the movie again. He is playing all of this at the very beginning of the movie when you see him like playing in his room. All the stuff that he plays in this battle, it's stuff that he was teaching himself back then.
Okay.
But then the piece that he was his project at Juilliard is what he brings out after he thinks he's defeated. He just starts playing.
Well, because he kind of got not in trouble, but reprimanded at Juilliard because he was playing Mozart on his guitar.
Yeah.
But then he got bluesy at the end.
Yeah, at the end of it, he's like
that's disrespectful. Yeah.
But he starts playing it. The crowd's like applauding him, recognizing how talented that part is. And then when he's done, he just plays and looks back at Jack Butler, and Jack Butler tries to copy it, and he can't. He's not talented enough. That's what's crazy about like rock guitar players. If you listen to the outtakes of them and how many of them are classically trained and how crazily skilled some of those guys are, that he could have probably just been like, dude, okay.
I did think that while watching this, I was thinking, because I got the idea that from the context, I was like, okay, this guy here has got to be in like an actual guitarist.
Yeah,
he's somebody. And when he messed up at the end, I was like, that would be like having Mike Tyson in a film and then having Mike Tyson like miss a punch or something. It's all right. You know the Steve Vai was just like, oh, I could do this, but okay, thunk.
Yeah. 86. I was 12 when I saw this. So any of the things like questioning reality on stuff, I was like, nah. It's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I hold this as, I always want to say, people start talking about like the best like fights at the end of a movie. I always want to throw this in just to see if anybody even knows what I'm talking about, because I love the fact that this movie's climax is two guys like guitar battling at the end. It's so cool.
And then Scratch just
up the he beats his player, and Scratch out. I love, it's pretty simple filmmaking.
Yeah.
But there's a light over top of Scratch, and as he tears the contract, like the light dims on him.
Okay, cool.
And then he walks out.
It's almost like a stage, like a play.
Oh yeah. I guess.
And then they get transported back to the Crossroads, and movie over.
Yeah, they talk about like traveling, learning to play, kind of taking that path of traveling around. Excuse me.
Yeah, you get the idea that while this is the end of Willie's, like his path, he's done.
Yeah.
He did what he wanted to do. He's free from the devil.
Yeah.
This is like Eugene's beginning of his path.
Oh, we were talking about at the end of Perfect Blue, and really kind of ties back to Song Sung Blue, about how that movie was about celebrities that don't know. They kind of lose it when the spotlight is taken off of them, and how some people actually have a plan and still go and have a family and kind of become these kind of grounded kind of examples of the people that should be held up instead of the crazy people that get held up all the time. I say that because Jamie Gertz, the one who plays Frances,
the actress,
richest actress in the world.
Okay, I feel like I've heard, like at one point in the past, I looked up like what she had done because I heard that, it's not
She has
because
a
of acting; it's because of other ventures,
she
right?
is a net she has a net worth of
Oh
$12 billion,
my goodness!
which is, for reference, Oprah Winfrey is like three.
Yeah. What?
So
So
Taylor
where'd
Swift,
all
I
this
think
come
like
from?
her, Taylor, the Kardashians, and like Reese Witherspoon, I don't
Hmm.
think they combine to equal what she's
That's
worth.
insane.
And there's like she's in Crossroads and like Lost Boys and like what
Well,
else?
there was a TV show she was in. She was
Yeah.
like the stereotype of like the stupid dumpy husband and then like the hot wife. She was like the hot wife in one of these shows.
She married Tony Ressler,
Okay.
who is an asset manager, and the two of them bought the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, okay.
And from that point, she's had four kids,
Mhm.
been married to the same guy the whole time, and she has become an asset manager. And when they say 12 billion, that's estimated. They say it could be anywhere from like 8 to 9 to maybe like 15, because I guess she's
Okay.
not going to disclose everything that
Of
she
course not.
owns. And I was like, what better example of a celebrity is there? Why is this woman not like running for office or
Yeah.
something?
I mean, you don't,
That,
at that point, she doesn't need to.
well, I mean, just being, she should be
Yeah.
held up. You get Oprah held up all the
Right.
time, or Taylor Swift and all these people. It's like, this woman had four kids. She's 60 years old. Pull up a picture of her. If you want to see maybe one of the best looking 60-year-olds on the planet, I guess that's what $12 billion probably affords you.
Right.
Probably having access to the Atlanta Hawks like trainers and training
Mhm.
facilities. But she has a couple of her companies that she owns too, on top of her and her husband buying the Hawks. And then I think they started like a couple of firms that are asset management things that are global. So um,
Yeah. Asset management is just like you get money. I mean,
you're helping people invest
yeah.
and probably helping people launder.
Right.
But I was sitting there like looking this up, and it was like I kept seeing, you see on Google, you see these little pictures down the side with like
Hmm.
little articles, and they kept saying something about richest woman in the world,
Right.
and I'm like, why did they keep tying Jamie Lee or Jamie Gertz? What does she have to do with that? And I like looked it up, and it was like, well, I've gone down a rabbit hole. I'm going to
Yeah.
be down for the next hour reading about this.
Well, and she hasn't exactly completely stopped acting. I mean, her last acting credit was from 2022,
Yeah,
but it seems like every few years she does something, which hey, that's
that's
awesome.
that's kind of what I saw out of like Kate Hudson and some of the other folks that we're talking about, is like they'll go back and act, but at this point, it's like
I think
I'm going to do what I want to do, and
the
you're not going to pressure me into doing anything weird.
the key is to diversify both the asset and in your life.
To
Do multiple things.
come back to a point that I was making when we were talking about Perfect Blue, Jamie Gertz,
Mhm.
Kate Hudson, neither one has ever done any kind of nude scene.
Oh, really?
They're You don't need to. It's not a because some creepy dude that makes movies wants somebody to do
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you have to.
Yeah.
It's you can portray the exact same thing without showing a thing, and people understand what it is, and the fact that people want to see it just shows how depraved they are. And if you want to see that for real, go get married. You can see it anytime you want to. Get a wife.
And you know my perspective. Art is what people want to make. So
It's much more fun
yeah,
to.
that's what I prefer.
I prefer the real thing. Let's leave it there.
I mean, I don't like action movies because I want to shoot people. You know,
Yeah,
like I like violence in films. I like blood in films, but
yeah,
not because I'm missing out blood and violence in my real life.
yeah.
You know?
We accept it because we've been inundated with it.
Oh yeah.
I
First
mean,
movie I
it's
ever watched was Nightmare on Elm Street. So,
yeah.
or at least first movie that I recall.
If the movies
Yeah.
you had watched had been Shane and John Wayne movies and stuff, then
Mhm.
we would think, oh wow, that dude got shot in that movie. That's crazy. I'm not letting my kids see that.
I don't know. I'm sure you could find people from that era that would say guns shouldn't be in films at all
Yeah,
because it promotes violence.
yeah,
So,
yeah. But
but
I love how
that's what's great about I think media in general is you, and that's one of the things we do here is we watch the stuff we want to watch. There is a lot of media out there that I'm like I don't want to consume that,
yeah.
so I don't.
I thought it was very interesting how something we threw together 36 to ish hours,
Yeah.
how tied together all three of these really can be when you kind
Hmm.
of think about sort of the people involved with it and kind of the themes through them, about Song Sung Blue being about people that were just fighting just for happiness, and still being a cohesive family all the way through it. And Perfect Blue kind of shows that world of what happens when it's all about you and it's all about fame. and how sick that world is. And then you come back to Crossroads, which is more a story about just it's kind of a more of a road trip movie, but the tie-in there being Jamie Gertz just being like this should be every girl's idol on the planet instead of half of these I don't know how to have a better word, slutty whores that they all idolize
A
on
lot of
social
idolize
media.
Taylor Swift, and I think going back to your point, I think she's probably on the trajectory of going the mother route and whatnot. I mean,
She's
she's
coming.
got a man now or whatever, and
She ran off and did
yeah,
the "it's all about me" thing, and she's aging out of it and starting to realize that if I want my life to mean anything, I should probably do what I was
she
intended to do.
she could definitely go the route of like Madonna, where she 30 years down the road, she's still doing concerts and stuff, trying
She's still
to
at gay festivals, and
maintain that same level of celebrity when
you
she
see
was
her
young.
trying to dance the way that she used to dance, and she's holding onto a bar like she's in a bathtub so she doesn't fall on the
I've,
floor at this point.
I've only seen like the clips people post on social media that comes across my feed, but yeah.
You take the two. I don't try to idolize other women. I do appreciate beautiful women. Jamie Gertz is a beautiful woman. Kate Hudson is a beautiful woman. Madonna is horrific to me. I one of those people, one of those three, has showed every part of herself to the world and been as depraved as you can be. And I think that's the most unattractive thing on the planet. And I wouldn't want to ever be involved with anything with her for that reason. I mean, to me, I think personally she's disgusting, and I think the other two are examples of what you. If you had a young girl and you wanted to idolize celebrity, I was like, there's two for you. There's there's a woman who went into acting and she's one of the richest women in the world. Not that their wealth is all about it, but she she took an opportunity that's a rare opportunity and turned it into $12 billion, and then you
Oh,
go
you see
back.
a lot of celebrities doing that now. I'm thinking like Ryan Reynolds. I mean, he's founded multiple and sold multiple companies just off his name alone.
Yeah,
So
they'll
Mint
grow up and
Mobile, he's in that one now.
have a happier second half of their life because they're not just trying to keep a camera faced on themselves
Yeah.
all the time and being
Well,
like, hey, look at me, look what I'm
celebrity
doing.
isn't the
Yeah,
end all be all.
yeah. Interesting
Yeah.
dichotomy between the lightning and thunder living their whole lives hoping that they might make a 20-minute act in Vegas and never actually getting there. High point of their life being that they get to be on stage in front of 30,000 people.
I did find it interesting how Eugene's moniker was Lightning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not too hard to tie a lot of things. Not too hard to tie good themes from good stories
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
It really does all kind of come back to kind of a lot of the core themes of family and morality and being heroes and stuff like that. They're pretty universal.
All right. Anything
So
else?
if you haven't seen Crossroads, then I would guarantee most of you have probably never seen or heard of
Yeah, it was a good
Crossroads.
film. It was a obscure film, that's for sure. But
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was good.
it's a fun rewatch anytime
Mm-hmm.
sitting around. If you're a YouTube consumer, then just look up Crossroads guitar battle or something. You can watch the from the time that they walk into the bar and you got those. I don't know. You don't quite call them gospel singers that are singing the Hush song.
Mm-hmm.
It starts up there and then it goes into them walking up on stage and then the battle starting. It's
And I'm
such a classic scene, man.
and I'm pretty sure the full movie is on YouTube, but it's also on Tubi.
Yeah, I watched it on Tubi. I've got it on DVD. It's not a very easy find to DVD. I think I found it at a show in somebody's bin or something a while back. You might be able to track it down online. But stuff from '86 like that wasn't like a big film doesn't get a lot of reprints or re-releases or anything.
Right.
So yeah, if you're a fan,
I didn't check the Internet Movie Database, but probably on there too.
if you're somebody that grew up watching the Karate Kid and idolizing that, then throw this in there. It's a very 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 different but very fun Raplh Macchio story. So
All right. That is Crossroads.
yes.